in 1973, Metro Theater Company has been creating professional theater that respects young people's intelligence, tells compelling stories, and provokes thought reflection. My next guest is the playwright of the upcoming production of the American holiday classic, It's a Wonderful Life, which tells the story that will bring audiences back to the golden age of radio. Joining us is St. Louis playwright John Wolbers. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
And I know you guys just started this past Sunday.
We did, yeah. We just opened this Sunday and we run through December 15th at the Grandel Theater.
And how'd it go?
It went really well. We had an almost sold out house and the audience seemed to be really loving and enjoying it.
That's wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, a wonderful life, right? And I was so intrigued because, you know, when I'm not on STL TV, I do a little bit of radio. And you are combining a play within radio. Can you tell our viewers more about how you're doing that?
Absolutely. We really wanted to start the piece on a really fun, bright comedic note. So we have it set in 1949 in a radio. And the idea that people used to gather around their radios as a family and really share that time together is not something we may be as familiar with in our modern day.
And you think about how big radios used to be. I mean, that was a huge piece of furniture back in the day.
Absolutely. And we've got a couple of those fun pieces on stage with us in the show, too.
And you brought photos, so we can take a look at those, those photos. And I know that you've got some dancing going along on air.
Yeah, so the premise is basically that there's an incident that happens, I won't spoil it, and all of the actors and musicians can't make it to the radio station.
Okay.
So the staff and a couple fun guests have to really pull together to put on the broadcast of It's a Wonderful Life. So most of the story is the traditional classic tale you're familiar with, but we have a really fun framed narrative that mirrors the story of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, quite the spin. And you have some of the characters playing multiple roles. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about this photo?
Absolutely. So this is one of our promotional photos that has all the characters gathering around the microphone, singing Auld Lang Syne together, which is that classic moment at the end of the film. But each of the different staff members have to play lots of different roles. We have a cast of 7, but if you're familiar at all with the movie, you'll know there's like 30, 40 different characters that you end up seeing. It's not just Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, the classic Jimmy Stewart, yeah. And black and white. And I know, I think I was telling you a little bit more before we went on air that it's only been maybe the last couple of years that I actually saw A Wonderful Life in its entirety. But I'm not alone on that.
No, actually, we've been talking to several different audience members and having some previews with students, and we found out it's about 50-50 on people who've seen the classic film and people who have always meant to or have actually never even heard of it. So we specifically wrote it in mind to make sure that if you didn't know anything about It's a Wonderful Life, you'd still be able to enjoy it regardless of your age, and also making sure we honor all those iconic moments that people who are diehard fans of the film will want to see on the stage.
And what are you hoping that people walk away with after viewing this?
We really hope that people understand that their impact is magical to an entire community. Every person does have value, and not only can one person bring their best self to a community and help make their community like Bedford Falls a better place, but the other way around, that oftentimes a community can gather around and raise up an individual who might need a little bit of a burst of joy in the holiday season.
And you were saying earlier too that you reached out to youth to find out, you know, maybe while you were writing it, or was that after you wrote it and they kind of reviewed it to give you some hints on what their thoughts would be?
Absolutely. And any time that you're creating a new piece or a new adaptation, as the case may be, you want to workshop it several times with different audience members, knowing that this piece would be specifically for theater for young audiences. We got the feedback from young people from the beginning, from the first draft all the way through to 2 days before we opened.
And what did you find was one of the biggest challenges with that, with maybe that they didn't understand from a movie of yesterday?
A lot of the technological differences were really interesting in making sure that they understood how radio worked. You know, what were what does a phone look like when it's not in your pocket, but it's on a desk? There's a cord, what is that? So understanding some of those differences and the cultural differences between the 40s and today, but also really how much we all matter to one another and how you can team together and work together through difficult times.
Well, I like that. I can't wait to meet some of the actors. They're going to be with us next. So stay with us at STL Live. We'll learn more about It's a Wonderful Life after this break.